The Secret Garden, Chapter 1, Miss White Manor. Mary Lennox was 10 years old and she lived in India with her parents. Her father was also busy with his work and her mother was also busy with a party and friends. They didn't have time for Mary, so an Indian nanny looked after her. The nanny allowed Mary to do anything she wanted because she didn't want Mary to cry. So Mary became a sporty, unpleasant girl with a bad temper. She was often ill and had a thin, sad face. One hot morning, Mary woke up and heard strange cries and shut outside her door, but no one came to see her, so she went back to sleep. Later, when Mary woke up again, the house was silent. Suddenly, her door opened and two Englishmen came in. "Why has everyone forgotten me?" she asked angrily. "Where is my nanny? Where is everyone?" "Poor little girl," said one of the men. "There is nobody here." That's how Mary discovered that her mother, her father, and their servant were died because of a terrible disease. What was why the house was so silent? Now Mary Lennox was completely alone, so she was sent to England to live with her uncle Mr. Craven. He lived in a big house in Yorkshire called Miss White Manor. Miss Maddox, her uncle's housekeeper, met Mary in London. As soon as Mary saw her, she didn't like Mrs. Maddox. But it was nothing new because Mary didn't like anyone. Mrs. Maddox didn't like Mary either. She thought that the little girl was bad-tempered and rude, and she was right. During the long train journey to Yorkshire, Miss Maddox told Mary about the house where she goes to live. It seemed very large and dark, and it was near the moor. "There is nothing for you to do there, and your uncle isn't interested in you," said Mrs. Maddox. "He's got a crooked back. He was an unpleasant young man until he got married. His wife was very pretty, and he loved her very much. When she died, he became a stranger." "Oh, did she die?" asked Mary. "Yes, and now he doesn't like anyone. It was most of the time, so you must look after her yourself." It was raining and dark when we got off our train. They traveled to the house in carriage. When they got there, Mrs. Maddox said, "This is where you're going to live. This room and one next to it is where you must stay. You must go into the other parts of the house. Don't forget that." Mary felt very sad and lonely. When Mary woke up the next morning, a young housemaid came into her room. Her name was Martha, and she talked to Mary while she worked. Mary didn't understand servants who were friendly. In India, she spoke to servants only to give them orders. She never said please or thank you. At first, Mary didn't listen to Martha, but then she began to like the sound of her friendly voice. "You should see all my little brother and sister in our little cottage on the moor," said Martha. "There are 12 of us, and my father doesn't earn much money. It is hard for my mother to feed them all. The French air on the moor makes them strong and healthy. Deacon is 12 and also out of the moor. He loves animals." "Go and look at the garden," Martha said. "There is not much growing now, but there are only in the summer." She stopped for a moment and then said quickly, "One of the gardens is locked up. It was locked up 10 years ago." "Why?" asked Mary. "Mr. Craven locked it after his wife died, and he bore the key. It was her garden." There were many gardens at Miss White Manor, since it was winter. There were no flowers and no leaves on the tree. Mary thought that the gardens looked empty and ugly. One day, she saw an old man in the garden. He had a friendly face and was pleasant to see her. It was Ben Steve, the garden. Go through the garden door, asked Mary. If you like, he replied, but there's nothing to see. Mary opened to find the door to the look at the garden. Then she noticed one of the wall and was covered in ivy, but it seemed to have no door in it. She couldn't see a tall tree behind it. A robin on a hatch branch started to sing, and she stopped to listen. It's a happy song, brought a small smile her sad face. The old man continued working. Mary looked at him and said, there is a garden over there with a door. What garden? Asked angry. One on the other side of the wall, she answered. I saw a robin in the tree over there. The old man stopped working, and to Mary's surprise smiled. He looked different when he smiled. Then a wonderful thing happened. The robin flew down. Here he is, the old man loudly. He's a nice little bird, isn't he? He is the only friend I have got. I never had any friends, said Mary sadly. Never have I, said Ben. You and I are the same. We are not looking and we are unpleasant. It was the fourth time that Mary ever thought that her angry face and bad temper as she felt embarrassed. But the robin's happy song made her look at an apple tree. Where he was sitting now, Ben alluded. Why didn't Robin sing? Asked Mary. He wants to be your friend, replied Ben. He likes you. Me? Said Mary, who was surprised. She went to the apple tree and looked up. Do you want to be my friend? She said gently to the robin, as if she was speaking to a boy or a girl. Well, said Ben quickly. You said they like a real child instead of an old woman. You said almost like Deacon when he talks to animals on the moor. Then the robin flew over the wall. There must be a door to the garden, Mary said. There's no door that you can find, Ben said angrily, and in any case, it's not of your business. He walked away. Ci vediamo al prossimo video. Baci, Zia Ari!